Welcome back, everyone. Please make sure to take your gift bags that we left for you by the entrance. That's just a reminder. Now let's continue with our amazing talks. Our next presenter is Milos Todorovic, CTO and co-founder of Ovio Care. Ovio enables seniors to spend quality time at home. Their goal is to keep them happy and connected to family and friends, regardless of distance. With Ovio, coordinating activities is simple, and moments of happiness are just a click away. Milos, the stage is yours.
Thank you. I'm guessing I can use this one for the slides. If you could just instruct me how to use it, that'd be great. Perfect. So, hello everybody. My name is Milos. I am a founder and the CTO of Ovio. And today I would like to share a story about the neglected part of our society, the issues they are facing, and what can we do to change that. So, everybody has parents, grandparents, or old elderly people close to them in their lives. And as those people settle down slowly in their lives and retirement kicks in, their daily lives start to change. They become more distant and they stop circling around their social circles they used to attend before. Their lives in general are becoming more monotonous, and their colleagues and friends, they're starting to distance themselves from everybody. So whether they share this or keep to themselves, an undeniable fact is that there are some significant issues which will arise compared to their previous socially more active years. This can lead to them feeling more disconnected from the community and distanced, and can arise in more problems, but the main one I'll be focusing on is that they're becoming basically socially isolated. Speaking of, what is social isolation? So, by definition, social isolation means having fewer than 3 face-to-face interactions with any given person in a given week. This can be caused due to a variety of reasons. First, starting off from personal reasons, like an injury, or something which would limit their mobility to wander around or go outside or attend social gatherings, to more common external factors, perhaps an elevator being out of service for a prolonged period of time, a part of their building being renovated, or some works being done on it which would limit their ability to go through that section. Or even just a cold, prolonged winter, which would yet again prevent them from going outside and socializing with other people. Now, these do not only limit their social interactions, but they also contribute to their, in general, feeling of loneliness, frustration, and helplessness. Something which I think sheds a light on this whole situation is that the world statistic for social isolation is that 23% of all elderly individuals are socially isolated, which makes it almost every 4th person. Now, why is this so important? One of the main causes and connections with social isolation is the development of neurodegenerative diseases. So prolonged social isolation may manifest in multiple manners, but some of them are like memory lapses, confusion, or frequent mood changes. And studies also indicate that, yet again, social isolation contributes to neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. And this reduced cognitive stimulation they have, and combined with the mental decline, just leads to a worse well-being of the person, affecting those people, but also carrying a heavy burden on the people close to them in their lives and around them. So, how do we plan to contribute to solving this issue? What is Ovio's purpose and mission? We want to provide a specialized non-medical service which will support them through a 2-sided marketplace where connecting our verified companions with the elderly clients and providing a meaningful connection which will alleviate and help them in their social isolation. By facilitating tracking, reporting, and preventive actions, OVIO enhances the quality of life of the elderly, potentially reducing the needs for medical interventions and helping early detection and treatment in the mental and physical illnesses. So the idea is for our trained and staff, that is specifically companions is the word we use, to spend time in cognitive stimulation, interaction, and just make them more active than they would be if they were to be alone. What would this provide? This would provide a financial, alleviation of financial burden, as well as on the families, as well as on the government, and improve the family, their in general relationships, improving on their emotional strain. It is removing the emotional strain involved in caring for elderly and loved ones. Now, those two actors that I mentioned, the two main personas for now, are support seekers and elderly individuals. And elderly individuals also known as elderly Inbetweeners. So the support seekers would be somebody close to those people, to their relatives or close associates, which deeply care for their loved ones. And they play a pivotal role in initiating and managing the engagement in OVIO service. Since we can't rely that elderly people can, on their own and themselves, find us, register themselves, or maybe they don't even want to, which I'll mention in a brief, they are here to provide and connect them with us so we can provide the necessary service. Now, the elderly individuals themselves are the primary beneficiaries of the service that we want to do. They are socially isolated and named elderly Inbetweeners, and they will receive companionship and non-medical support through OVIO's platform, engaging in social interaction, which will enhance their overall well-being. With this, we want to help their relationships, where we want to support the support seekers, where they can find relief, security, and safety for their loved ones, as well to help our elderly Inbetweeners to gain a meaningful social connection and support. Mentioning the word elderly Inbetweeners has a specific meaning. So elderly Inbetweeners are people who are not 100% functional and active parts of the society, but also they are not having problems with their health from age or from the neurodegenerative diseases to make them fully non-functioning parts of the society. So this brings a few key points to this topic. First, they are very hard to identify, because how do you find someone if they're socially isolated? So you either rely on themselves, willing to find support which they need, or for somebody else to connect them with somebody who can support them and provide aid which will help them. Now, looking at the option of if they want to find the support themselves, which is more common than you would think, they would contact the medical institutions which are able to provide the support they need. But they will probably, not almost, but very often, be faced with an answer which is along the lines that they are pretty much in a too good of a condition for the medical institution or that service to help them. And that is not because of some malicious intent or their lack of regard for them. It's because they are also limited on resources. And they deem and believe that they would need to place their resources for the more required patients, and those would be the second part of the in-between, and those are the ones who are not fully functional and just cannot function on their own without medical assistance and support. So identifying those people is pretty hard, and it's a challenge. And by this is something which we believe needs to be more focused on for a variety of reasons. It's not just about identifying and knowing that those people exist. It's about knowing more about them, which we'll go into further detail in the further slide. But why is this so important? Early engagement in social isolation is crucial, because in this is the moment where you can make a huge difference for the next 10 years of those people's lives. If there's an intervention when that is the more early it's identified that they're socially isolated, they're starting to develop problems, the faster you can intervene and that is at least slow down some of the potential neurodegenerative diseases they might face. A big problem in all of this is that 75%, as per recent study, of your doctors in Europe are hesitant or avoiding to even mention the idea of their patient to visit a neurologist. And this is due to a combination of factors, some being about the way those people we are talking about, the elderly, have been brought up and live their lives, and there's that always one famous one, it's not gonna happen to me, it's just a phase, it's probably gonna end soon, it's just here and there for now. But there is also the potential backlash that the doctors could face for mentioning to a patient to visit a neurologist without enough concrete foundation so they can prove their point. But if they're able to prove their point, those patients are already in a bad situation. Medical assistance is not going to be impactful enough, and this cognitive stimulation, which I'm talking about, is not going to have enough of an effect for them because they already need heavier and more full medical support. Now, there are two factors which we would like to focus on in Novio. First would be pioneering the data collection and support for the elderly Inbetweeners. As mentioned, they're hard to identify, but more importantly than just finding those people is having any idea how do those people live, what are their mental state, where is their mental state, in what condition are they, what are their dynamics and habits. It's something, yet again, which is quite scarce in this whole situation. And one very important factor is that unlike traditional medical services, where a broader approach is taken for approaching certain problems and diseases that people have, that is, they're categorized by the disease and not by the person, we intend to tailor an approach for each individual person based on their current situation, their current state, the diseases to which they're developing, moving forward to, and to see how can we help and how we can make their daily lives better. So it's not just about gathering this data and piling it up and having a better, meaningful insight into this. We also want to make a tangible difference for not just the people we are currently helping, but through anybody else we could help through our researches and collaborations, which I will also mention later. Now, this data has a secondary purpose as well. The purpose for it is to develop a machine learning model focused on early detection and evaluation of neurodegenerative diseases. So the way we want to do this is by firstly identifying through the model if they are developing in a certain percentage or moving towards a specific famous categorized neurodegenerative disease, we can implement adequate treatment which will help them for that specific case, but also take into regard all of their conditions, how their interactions, their interests, their habits, and just their cognitive function. It should also help in evaluation of their overall mental state, and it is aligned with the latest medical research and criteria used by healthcare professionals to diagnose the mentioned diseases. Now, all of this will be done in collaboration with psychiatrists and medical institutions, but how does this go from A to B? So our staff, that is our companions who visit the elderly Inbetweeners, interact with them in social activities, conversations, and cognitive exercises, which we pre-matched already based on those two people, based on their characters and interests, so they can have a more effective time spent together. Now, during this interaction and conversation, the observation data gathered from the interaction is done by our companions, is being taken down, and after each meeting, they have a full report which they have to fill out, consisting of 18 points and scaling in various degrees, which is the latest and official report used by medical professionals to identify the same diseases which we are talking about. The important part is this model, this report then goes into our data pipeline, and from there soon moves to the machine learning model itself. And one big factor here is, so if we're doing this with the same approach and the same method as how we're doing it in the medical industry, we have this lack of human error which could happen where something might slide by, and also as the model ages and develops with time, refines with broader and better data. Also, the detection itself will happen earlier. Now, this is planned to be done firstly through predictive analytics to identify any potential health risks which are there to be employed, but also through a neural network or key part which will be adept to recognize the complex patterns and the vast and large array of data that we will have concentrated here. In the further future, there is also the idea of adding NLP, that is natural language processing, for analyzing conversation patterns, but it is something which still needs to be researched further to put the foundations for that model. Now, these improvements will help also the people around them, and early identification can help their well-being and the way they live their lives, which reduces healthcare costs and reduces the stress and involvement of everybody regarding those people. Why are healthcare costs important? By a recent study for aiding people with mental health diseases, each euro invested today into someone's mental and well-being returns sevenfold in 5 years. That is, in other words, each euro which is not invested today to mentally support someone and help them with their medical condition if they have one, will cost 700 euros in medical assistance, medical bills, and treatments in 5 years, which is yet again something which I deem very important for this topic. Now, we are not alone in all of this. Since we are covering multiple complex topics and aiming yet again to a two-sided marketplace, we have our partners, which I would put into 3 broader categories. First would be our collaborations with medical institutions and scientific institutions, which help us understand the problem better, with who we learn more about how could this be provided, helped, and treated as well. What can we do to slow their processes down of the neurodegenerative diseases. And it also helps us to understand the whole topic around neurodegenerative diseases better, so we can provide better support and provide earlier detection. Engagement with public policy makers is also another key point. Through that partnership, we can help shape the policies that support the well-being of the elderly and ensure that the solutions are integrated into the broader public health initiatives. And the third group would be the pharmaceutical industry in general, since through them we can contribute to the research on medication for the efficiency of treating the said neurodegenerative diseases, but as well, if deemed necessary, we can incorporate the latest drug therapies in our care models to provide, again, a better and more quality life for the elderly in-betweeners. And with that, I would like to thank you for your time and attention. And to ask you if you have any questions in regards to the topic. If none, again, thank you for your time, and that's it.
Appreciation for your engagement in DCS 23. Thank
you
you very much. Our next presenter is in 10 minutes, so we have a little break. Mhm, so schön.